All right, everyone, welcome to another edition of the Good Life Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Blakely, and I'm pleased to be joined today by Kylee Hall of Hall's Electric and Services. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I'm glad to be here.
Haven't seen Kylee in, 10, 15 years.
Probably at least.
Yeah, but it's always fun to sit down with someone that you went to high school with because there's not very many of us from the Sandhills High School, so.
No.
Good to see you, man.
You too.
So let's get into it. I know you pretty well, but let's, for the listeners, get to know you a little bit more. Are there any books that you're reading or listening to right now?
Not right at the moment. Just been pretty busy and not enough time, I guess, to be doing that.
Yeah.
So
we'll get into that more and learn. How about podcasts? You get a chance to listen to those much?
Podcasts, I haven't listened to a whole lot.
Yeah.
So it's kind of my first deal.
Yeah. Well, here we go. Let's get into it. So I'm really interested. Again, I've known you for a while, but I don't really know your story as far as your business and how it's grown. So just kind of take me back and tell me how things got started from when you were doing it on your own to where you're at now and just kind of the whole process getting there.
Well, right out of high school, I guess, I started working out in the field a little bit, doing some things, went to college. Didn't really pan out to a whole lot. I was not much of a book guy or an in-class guy. So went to college for 3 to 4 months, started working, traveling around the United States, working on a whole bunch of different jobs, anywhere from small commercial jobs, Walmarts, things like that. Worked on ethanol plants, power plants, traveling all over the United States. And then got laid off back in 2011.
Okay.
So as soon as I did that, I started helping a farmer out, and his electrician that he used all the time actually needed to hire somebody.
Okay.
He was getting older, didn't want to do as much, so I started helping him over in Wallace, Nebraska, actually.
Okay.
Did that for a couple, 3 years. Decided I wanted to do my own business. He wasn't quite ready to sell yet. Okay. So went out on a limb and took about $500-600 and bought a pickup and knew some GCs or whatever. And so they started giving me a few jobs. And we just kind of started that. We started in our back garage. Like I said, back in 2012. Made it for about 2 or 3 years and outgrew our garage.
Okay.
Built a building, lasted there for a few more years, and then just kind of outgrew that and started taking on a lot more jobs. And that's kind of where we are right now, I guess, as far as moving to where we are and getting as many employees as what we do. So. And
how many employees do you have now?
We have around 40 employees, and that's over. We have a Wallace office as well.
Okay.
We don't really work out of the Wallace office per se, but we have a few guys that stay in that area all the time.
Okay.
And then we have another 4 to 5 guys that stay down in the Cozad area, which we have an office down there as well.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But overall, we have right around 40 employees.
Got it.
Yeah.
How long was it from when you started to when you hired your first employee?
We started in September of 12. And then actually I called out to the college, or had a buddy knew a kid out to the college, and he needed some part-time help. So I think college started in August. I believe it was actually April of 2013. We hired one employee.
Okay.
He was just part-time. And then we got our first full-time employee like June of 2013.
Okay.
So...
And did you start out doing mainly like residential stuff, or did you start out with commercial projects?
We started out with anything and everything that we could get our hands on.
But, like most small businesses.
Yep. But mainly residential. That was just kind of the easier thing to get into. A lot of service work, remodels, things like that. The thing that we worked on over in Wallace, or I did for like my first 2 or 3 years, was a lot of irrigation wells, grain bins, farm and ag stuff for the most part, feed yards. So, but mainly residential, and then it just kind of strung out from there. So,
were you able to find a niche on the farm side? Were there a lot of electricians doing that kind of work on pivots and stuff? Or
there really is not. That's kind of your 1, 2, 3, kind of electricians, or the electricians that have a couple, 3 people that kind of work for them. That's usually kind of how it goes, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we just decided to take on anything and everything that had anything to do with electrical, I guess. So,
Got it.
yeah.
How's the business evolved, and I guess how the business has evolved, but kind of your role within the business as well. Just kind of talk about that with starting on your own to where you're hiring an employee at some point and then bringing more on. How has that kind of changed your role in the business?
Well, I'm more of a hands-on guy. So I like to be out in the field. I like to be doing my thing. I like to run equipment and do other things like that. But getting more and more people, you have to learn how to manage those people, and or you have to come up with people that can manage other people.
Yep.
So it's been a very difficult process for myself, and trying to learn how to stay out of the field so much and being hands-on and more of a management skill, paperwork, things like that. I guess everything that leads up to that and overseeing everybody. So
yeah, totally different transition. And we were talking before we hit record. I don't have near as many employees as you do, but there's challenges along the way. And especially being an electrician, you get good at your craft. You're good at what you do, especially when you have to take pretty much everything on. You learn to do a lot of different things, but then to transition to be actually working on the business, not in the business as much, I'm sure that's got to be a challenge. And there's probably days, maybe, I don't know, you tell me, days where you kind of think back to when it was just you and you were going out and doing those jobs, and where some days maybe you wish you were back there at times.
Yeah. It was definitely a lot easier when I was worried about myself and only myself, I guess, and or one or two guys or people. It was a lot easier to manage and keep on working. But every time you hire a new employee and have somebody else, it's just you reach another management skill, and then you turn around and you got one more mouth to feed. So it's really hard sometimes, I guess, knowing that you've got to have that much more work and you got to get that much more work, or you're not going to be able to feed all the mouths that you got working underneath of you. So it's been different.
Yeah, added stress.
Yeah.
Did you ever plan on it getting this big? Like, was this where you're at right now, or even past this? Was this ever the goal, or were you just going day by day?
More day by day. When I first started, I thought that it was probably going to be me and a couple other guys, and that's kind of where we were going to leave it. And then somebody comes to me and wants me to bid a job, and we take it on. And then once we take it on and we know that we can do it, let's take on another big job. And before you know it, you got a couple, 3 bigger jobs that take 2 or 3 people per job. And so then you got 5, 6, 8 people working underneath you. And then it's like, well, I like to give everybody a chance. I'm not very good at firing anybody. So
right. Yep.
I want to keep them on. I want to keep them going. So it's just, I don't know. It's been pretty crazy, but at first I thought it was just going to be me and maybe a couple other guys, and maybe 6 total. And I think finally the wife told me that this is it. This is like, you don't need to go anymore. You've got enough. And it adds a lot of stress.
Yeah.
So and not only to to me, but the rest of the family as well. So
is there ever a point where you kind of stood back and said, "Wow, this has gotten pretty big," or where you, I guess, just kind of take inventory of where things are at right now from where you started, and just kind of appreciate that? Or is it really you're still working towards the next thing and just kind of trying to move forward?
It kind of works both ways. Some days I'm happy of where I'm at and I want to stay where I'm at. We get somebody else to come in the office and help us out, and I push off one of my roles onto somebody else. Well, as soon as I do that, then I almost feel like I need something else to do.
Yeah.
So then at that point, then we turn around, we end up hiring some more people, we end up getting some more jobs, and we just keep growing that way. But I think we're to a point right now, we're pretty happy, and the workforce not being able to get as many employees as like what we would like is kind of putting a damper on things too. So
Yeah.
I think where we're at right now, I'm pretty happy with, and I want to try that out for maybe a few years and just kind of see where it takes us. So
it's fun to grow, but I think, like you said, you get to a place where it's like, okay, let's keep things going as they have, and you're probably used to being a certain level of busy. So when you, like you said, when you delegate something and maybe you're not as busy, there's maybe a little bit of guilt there, or you just feel like this is what I've been used to for the last 11 years.
Yeah.
So I need to be this busy.
For sure. There's being a business owner, as you know, and everybody else probably knows, it's not just a 3-4 day a week, and it's not a 8 hour, it's not a 9 to 5 job. It's you're working 7 days a week from sun up to sundown. Yep. So, but yeah, it's just something you get used to.
Always thinking about it when you're not working too.
Yep. Yeah. You just don't lay in bed and sleep all night.
Yeah, exactly. So what's your favorite part about being a small business owner?
I guess there's probably several things really. I guess hearing people talk about, yourself and your employees. You got good and you got bad, but when somebody comes up to you and says how good your employees did, or how clean they are, how nice of work they did, or you see articles in the paper, things like that, it's really nice to hear that I was part of it and helped make that. But obviously, the employees is what makes you too. So it's really nice to hear different things, I guess, and just making people happy, I guess, for the most part.
Yeah, I've said it before that it's kind of an unintended consequence to have when you have employees that really when you let them do what they're capable of doing, and they kind of flourish and realize how good they are at some things. It's really rewarding to let them be able to do that, but also if you can encourage them or teach them along the way, that's an awesome feeling. And I didn't get into it with that intention. For me, it was about keeping the lights on, but as I've gone along, that's really been it's been a nice benefit of it. So
for sure. With that. And just stepping back and being able to see something that you built or you were part of building or whatever, it's just nice to see something go from ground zero where there's nothing there, and then all of a sudden it's a new shiny building or whatever it is, I guess, that we're working on. It's really nice to step back and see that, I guess, or know that you were part of it. Yeah. So
when you're in the middle of it, the long hard days, and you got something to see at the end.
Yep. Exactly.
What do you wish you were better at when it comes to running your business?
Maybe a little bit better on the management side, because like we've talked or whatever previously, it's hard for me to sit back and watch all the time. I'm better at hands-on than I am maybe pushing the pencil and doing the right paperwork. But yeah, there's things that I've been working on recently, and just mainly being a better manager, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that ever ends.
No.
I don't think you get to a place where you're really good at it, because when you're dealing with people, things are always changing. And so I would say that's something I'm working on too, trying to get better at.
Yeah.
But it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy.
It's not.
Yeah. Talk about the pandemic a little bit. So you started back in 2012, so you were humming along pretty good when the pandemic hit. How did that change your business? And was there anything that happened during that time, maybe that you implemented, or maybe you took a step back and took some time to change your business or work on your business in a way that is kind of carried through, or that you still use today?
So the pandemic, when it hit, at first it didn't change a whole lot for us. But we also had a lot of our guys, all the job sites were shutting down. Yeah. They wouldn't let us on the job sites. Residential service calls, people didn't want us in their houses. So it was hard to give the guys 40 hours a week. So that started putting a damper on a few things, I guess. But then it got to the point where the guys could go out and work on the commercial side of things, or maybe on the open job sites, things like that. Our grain bins, different things like that. So we could send more people over to those areas to work, as some of the guys are better at those areas than other guys. So that was a pretty stressful time, I guess, for myself and for who they were working for, or with, I guess, as far as the foreman goes.
Yeah.
But in the long run, it probably brought us all a little bit closer and made us all look at the bigger picture. Mm-hmm. We were just trying to be a lot safer at doing different things, than what we were, I guess, prior. But I mean, it's only made us stronger now than it did before. So there's just a lot of things that we had to change, and we made those changes, and we're still here and still going. Yeah. So,
did you make any, or did you take a step back and, I guess, from an internal standpoint, like processes, procedures, anything like that? Did you take some time to maybe, okay, if we're bringing someone on, here's kind of the process for this, or anything like that internally, just maybe fine-tune things when it got back to normal?
Yeah, I guess as far as being maybe cleaner, I guess, just making sure the vehicles were cleaner, just people wearing face masks, just asking customers how they feel when we come into the house, and, just some things like that, I guess. As far as the rest of it, I think that we kind of had a good standing point prior to COVID or whatever hitting. Yeah. But yeah, I just it made everybody step back and take a bigger look, I guess, at things and the way they do, and just keep them cleaner or whatever. So
yeah. How much stress did that put on you?
It was quite a little bit.
Yeah.
There was job sites that were threatening just to shut down. We were working on a few federal jobs. They didn't want anybody there. So, yeah, like I said before, we got around 40 people now, and we probably had 20, 25 people at that point in time. And knowing that you possibly might not be able to write a paycheck to pay for those guys, that's pretty stressful. Yeah. So,
how long was it before you could really either getting on residential jobs or commercial jobs? How long was it where there was just kind of that uncertainty about what was going on?
I would say in our work, it was probably 2 to 3 months before it really kind of easing back into it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, when it first hit, it took about 2 weeks for some of the jobs to start shutting down and us not being able to be on. But then 2 to 3 months into it, then I think some other people were making some changes so that we were able to get back on site. Yeah. But, when they start telling people that we can't take breaks together, 1 or 2 people can't ride in the same vehicles, you got to wear a face mask, and it's, might be 100 degrees outside. Yeah. It's some of those things, and seeing my stress alone, but the employees' stress as well. So, I mean, they knew what was going on. So, and just making sure that they got paid. Yeah,
it was a crazy time, but you made it through good, and things are going good now. So, the question I have for you that I'm interested to see how you'll answer this, but if you could go back to day one when you started on your own, what advice would you give yourself, if any, on things to do different, or would you just let things go as they have?
Probably slow down.
Yeah.
Look back on the bigger picture. To be honest, maybe not grow as fast. Try to take it one step at a time. Get good at your first step before taking the next step. Mm-hmm. I'm really good at jumping in at 2 or 3 things, and I would rather be 100% at one thing than 50% on one and 30% on another one. Yeah. So I guess step back, look at the bigger picture, and take it one day at a time and take it slow.
Would you have listened when you were just trying to pay the bills, though? It's hard, isn't it?
It is really hard.
Yeah.
yeah, just like I said, money always talks, and then you turn around and you get one job, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, it's just kind of a rush. All of a sudden, you got another job, and you want to just keep on going. But I don't know. I think we're doing good. I like where we're at, but I think we could be better if we would have just slowly went into it instead of as fast as what we did. Mm-hmm. But we've just grown really, really fast. Yeah, and it's been a lot to take on. Yeah, so
challenges all the way along the way.
Yep.
So if someone comes to you, friends, family, whoever, and they say, "Hey, Kylee, I want to start my own business," what advice would you give them?
Once again, probably step back and make sure it's right for you. Talk to the family, make sure that they know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. So like I said, we, as a business owner, I mean, you work 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. You're on the phone. I'm on the phone from 5:30 in the morning to probably 8 or 9 at night, and that's 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. So just be sure you know what you're getting into, and if you're going to do it, give it 100%, and know that you got to give it 100%. And make sure that you got people that are behind you and helping you. Yeah. So
I think people get into running a small business or doing something that they love and thinking that it's going to be great every day, but there's still days that really suck.
And that's a lot of truth to that. Not every phone call you take is one that you want to take.
Right.
But you're better off taking that phone call than ignoring that phone call.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. Just take the phone call and move on with your day. But
yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. All right. So how can people find out more about Halls Electric?
We have a website at Halls Electric at Google, and then we also have a Facebook page as well. Okay. We have a gal that does our Facebook for us. She's very good at it. All of our job sites are on there from start to finish, and she does a very good job on it. So I would say our Halls Electric Facebook page is the best way to get a hold of you. Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Hey man, thanks a lot. This is fun.
Not a problem. Good I appreciate to talk to you again.
Congratulations with all the success. It's great to see how big you built this business and how great you've done, and I'm sure it'll be great in the future. So
perfect. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Kylee.
Thank you.